just starting. So shamanism, what is it? So just going to have a little brief chat about it. I've got a nice little agenda and a few slideshows, so you don't have to stare at my face all the time. And at the end, if there's any questions you've got, then we'll go through them. If you get some questions as we go along, if you can just sort of put them in the chat, then you'll remember them. And if I don't get a chance to answer them all on this call, we'll try and keep it to the hour. Then what I'll do is I'll go through them, and then when I repost this, I'll repost it as a blog or something. I'll try and answer everyone's questions. Yeah, that sounds fair. So what we'll do first is we've all had pretty busy days, or it's the start of our day. So I like to do is just for us all to just center ourselves. If you want to close your eyes for a moment, just breathe. Do nothing but breathe. And just bring your attention from what might be a busy mind into your heart. Just try and be in the heart. And just turn off the busy mind. Be present now with us all. And if the mind's really busy, just pull all the thoughts together as a ball and just imagine you can take it like a tennis ball and pop it behind you and pick it up later. Beautiful. And what I like to do is just sort of start this by asking some of the elements to come and help us. And this is what I would normally do if I was doing a shamanic ceremony. So I call upon the east and the south and the west and the north, upon the fire, which we've got here as our flame, the water, the earth and the air. I call upon Mother Earth, Gaia, to send us her grounding frequencies so we can all be here in this moment. And I'm going to call in some goddesses. I'm going to call in Bast, Wadjet, Sekhmet and Isis, and some archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel and Raphael. I ask them just to come and open the communication channels, so there's any questions that are asked, they can guide me to answer them for you. I also call upon my shamanic temple, all my guides, the protectors, the healers, those from Atlantis, Arturia, the Mayans, and the Native Americans. And if you know me, you know I work well with dragons. So I call in my dragon guides to protect us here fully, to keep open the channels, keep this Zoom strong, the internet up. I also ask that this little portal that we're in is invisible to anything or anyone, any spirit that doesn't already have unconditional love for us. There's nothing's coming in to disturb us. Beautiful. Okay. Often that's how I would open a ceremony, a healing ceremony. And I often call in lots of different goddesses and angels and all the rest of it. And if you do start to practice shamanism, you'll work out your own little team. I really love this. I mean, shamanism is one of those things that I've been studying for 5+ years. I've studied with 5 shamanic teachers. They've got Peruvian, Colombian, Celtic roots, and all of it is fairly similar. And I just love the fact that this, I think, sums it up. And that is the role of a shaman is to find the root causes of your issues, which can be health, financial, social, spiritual, and obviously many other different things, and provide healing energy to assist you in resolving your issues. And that really sums up what shamanism is. And we could just say, well, that's it. But I've got a few more slides and I'll go in a little bit more detail to explain my understanding of it. And shamans are often born into their shamanic practice. So if you think back thousands of years, it was probably a lineage thing. And it's only really in recent years that shamanism for us in this world has started to come out. And it is something that anyone can practice. It's very hard for you to say, I'm a shaman. Really, you would be saying, I am a shamanic practitioner, because you're using the rituals and the tools. So some people can get a little bit funny if you call yourself a shaman if you aren't born into it. So I normally just say I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I do shamanic healings, and I'm also a shamanic teacher. Okay, so what are we going to cover? We're going to cover, right, see if this works as well. Can you see that? Did it move forwards? Perfect, right. So we're going to say, what is shamanism? And I've got a bit more information there to explain the different areas that I've worked in. What tools do shamanic practitioners use? And I've got a whole bunch of them here, and I'll show you some of them. What's this thing about the three worlds? In shamanism, there's three worlds. I know other modalities have many different ones, but in shamanism, we have the three. Can a shaman heal? It's one of those areas that we can talk about. What gifts do shamans receive from spirit, or from source, or whatever you want to call it, or God, or goddess, or universe? That all basically means the same thing, really. And then what are the stages of shamanism? I've sort of split it into 4, but it's more of a high level summary. It's a bit like if you do Reiki, you can do Reiki 1, 2, 3, Master, Superior Master, or certain. But I've split it into 4 to give you an idea. And then I've said, how do you learn shamanism? And there I sort of see 3 or 4 different ways. And at the end, I'll be sort of saying to you, well, I've got a course, maybe you'd like to do it with me. So, but we'll go through that. And then at the end, we'll have some Q&A. So if there's anything you really got a question on, so put it in the chat to remember it, or just remember it and ask it at the end. So a quick drink. Right. Next one, right. A full page. What is shamanism? Okay, it's many different things. It isn't ancient. When I say ancient, it varies depending on who you speak to, but some people say it's been around since the very first human existed. So, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of years. And it was the first way that we as humans connected to the other worlds and to the spirit worlds. And often, if you think of a shaman, they're sort of dressed in feathers maybe and tatty clothes, but very powerful colors. Maybe they're dancing around a fire. Maybe they've been smoking a pipe that's got something in it that's hallucinogenic, and they go into another world. And that's sort of the very traditional way of thinking of a shaman and what shamanism is. And nowadays, we're still doing plant medicines, definitely. People still do that, ayahuascas and San Pedros. But also, you can just get into it just by going on a journey. And that's my preferred way, because it means you can go on a journey and come back and you haven't got to wait for the drugs to come out of your system. But of course, I have done those, and they're very, very powerful. And you do get to see the other realms in, full 5D almost. It's beautiful. Some people say, is it a religion? Shamanism isn't a religion, and that there isn't any worship. So even though we call upon and we communicate with goddesses, gods, deities, animals, mythical beings like the dragons and unicorns and all the rest of it, even and the fairies, we're not worshipping them. We're on a level with them. We're calling them in. We're peers. So it's not a religion. If somebody starts saying to you, there's this dogma, you must do this, you must do that, that starts to become a religion. And shamanism is fairly open, and I've seen that through all the different ones. It's great. Nature's a big one. We often do lots of grounding and earthing, so go out and stand in nature with your bare feet and you earth yourself. And in shamanism, we often see the earth, or Gaia, as a goddess, as a living being, and we connect to her and we use her powers. So often in healings, I will ground people and I'll say to them, when you breathe out, send your energy into the earth. When you breathe in, pull all the energy back in, and it's being cleansed and it's revitalizing. And then you place that into the areas, maybe your chakras or your auras, or into an area that maybe there's a problem. I don't know if you've got a bad ankle, you can imagine the energy just coming in and out, and it's very powerful. And you can do that yourself. You don't actually need a shaman to connect you. Yeah, and say it connects to nature for healing energy. And the healing energy isn't from the shaman. The shaman is like the hollow bone or the hollow reed that connects whoever needs the healing to the source. So in many ways, it's like a tube that connects. What is it? Shaman also, in shamanic practice, we love music. So there's always drums, gongs, bowls, rattles, bells, singing. I mean, my singing voice is a bit croaky, but I'll have a go. Scares people away, keeps the bad spirits off. And dance is big in shamanism. If you go back to the sort of when you first think of a shaman, you imagine him or her dancing around a fire, don't you, and doing sort of funny shuffles. We do that nowadays, and I normally go to one in Wales, of all places, and we often wear a bandana over our eyes, and we just dance for 2 hours and just let it all flow, and the energy truly flows through you, and you imagine yourself connecting to the earth and to the spirits, and it's very powerful. Yeah, and it's all about following the flow of life. So that you could have a shaman that lives in the middle of London, but normally you would find that someone practicing shamanism is more connected to nature. But there's no reason why it can't be anywhere, really, because nature's everywhere. You could be just connecting to the tree, in the park or something. One of the big things is that it's about showing respect to our fellow creatures and to one another. When I say creatures, I mean everything from the smallest gnat up to the biggest whale. We love them, and we see them as having a soul essence. So everything has a soul essence. So even a rock that's been there ground away for millions of years, or a grain of sand, has an essence, and you can actually tap into that. So if you went into an old house, you could tap into the rocks and the brick and feel the energy when it's all there, and you can see the auras of things. So living creatures, for example, horses have a very strong aura, and it often looks very purple in color, and that's beautiful. So I love connecting to horses because they're just straight connection, and dogs and cats as well, and most animals. Humans are a bit, some of their auras can be a bit off. And the traditions, where's it come from? Basically, it comes from every corner of the world, but you can sort of pinpoint certain modalities of it in like Europe, Africa, Haiti, Asia, America, etc., etc. And I've not studied all of them, but each one where I've spoken to the teacher, it all works fairly similarly. We all have that sort of idea of animism, where we believe animals have a soul almost. Well, they do have a soul, which is very beautiful. Cool. So that's shamanism very quickly. And then we go to the next one. So what tools? Wow. As a shaman, you don't need any tools. You don't have to have any tools. It's just you and your connection to the spirit worlds. However, it's very useful to have some tools because it helps you with the connection, and a steady beat on the drum or on the rattle is a very good way of going on a shamanic journey. So, for example, I've got a rattle which I often use to sort of sound like a snake or something. I've got my shamanic drum. I've got gongs. And you'll see people with huge big bowls, and they do sound ceremonies, and the frequency of sound is very good in healing. They have lots of things like lots of crystals. So this is an ankh. You can see that. But yeah, there's lots of different tools. We use crystals, stones, rocks, feathers, sacred water or holy water, if you want to call it that. Fire, definitely. Candles, scents, sage, and lots of oracle cards. I've got probably 15 different packs of oracle cards. We'll often just sit in ceremony and just ask some of your guides to come in and just say, I've got this question, I've got this thing in my normal life, I'm not quite sure what to do, can you please assist me? And you'll sit with your oracle cards. You might pull one card, you might pull 5 cards, and then you just read the cards, and there's often a book with it that tells you in more detail what it's about. And you can do that for yourself, or you can do that for other people. So if people come for a healing, I'll sit down and I'll just sort of think, do we need a card? I'll connect to their guides if they've got any. I'll connect to their higher self, their soul, and just sort of say, is there something you can, some insights you can give me? And obviously the oracle cards are very good for that. You can also go on shamanic journeys with the intention of asking the guides on the universe a question for someone. So I don't know, somebody the other day, their business was maybe not going the best, so I could go on a journey with the intention of finding out, is there something we can do? We can ask a question. It's very powerful. What other tools do we use? We use Gaia, the earth, for earthing ourselves. We use the elements, as I called in, we called the earth, the wind, the fire, the water. We call in the directions. And the bit that some people get a bit contentious about is we call in the goddesses, and the goddesses that you call in are the ones that you believe in. So if you're a Native American or if you're European, you're going to have different ideas on who the goddesses are, and we call on those. Same as the gods. There's some people that believe there's one god, others believe there's many gods. And when you start your shamanic practice, what you do is you go through a process of creating your shamanic temple, and you go on a journey, and you go to meet your guides. And you might find that your guides, like for myself, I've got a bat, I've got some dragons, I've got some lions, I've got mermaids, and I've also got goddess Isis. Yeah, and the first time a goddess came in, I was like, oh blimey, this is a bit, but it's just source energy showing to you, because we are all one, it's showing to you what you need. So, you know, when I got a bat, I was like, why have I got a bat? That's so small. I wanted some big powerful thing, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex or something. But what you do is you connect to that animal, that spirit world, and you can ask it, why are you here? So the bat's for hearing. So whenever I'm going to go on a journey, I'm like, I need to be able to hear what I would normally not hear, or I need to listen to someone in a way that I would normally not listen. I call on the bat, and the bat hearing comes in. And if you've ever gone into the woods or forest and done this with your ears, it's amazing how much more you can hear. It's so crisp, and it's when I connect with my bat energy that's why I hear. I just hear things so more clearly. The noise disappears. It's beautiful. Yeah, archangels, power animals. Your animals can come in and they can have lots of different powers. So like I say, there's the bat for hearing, I've got a hawk for seeing, I've got a goddess for wisdom, and each of those come into your temple and help you build your sort of like power team. Okay, so that's the tools. Three worlds. Okay, so we live in a world where we all sort of understand there's a heaven, we understand there's a hell, and we understand we're on earth, and that's sort of what most people have, that idea. In shamanism, we have the lower world, but it's not hell, it's not evil, it's none of that. There's not people in purgatory or anything. It's the lower realm, and it's benevolent spirit, it's friendly spirit, there's spirits there that can be a bit jokey and a bit tricky, but there's not anyone there that's out to hurt you. There's no one there that's the devil or anything like that. And it's often the place that you'll go if you go on a journey to the lower world. It's very like sort of ancient lands, as you would imagine if it was maybe in the 12th century or something. It's very wild and beautiful, and depending on where you go, it might be a forest, it might be like I have some forest, I have some rivers, I have some barren bits like a desert. It will depend on your own particular world, how you see it. A lot of it comes through your imagination, and it's where we go to meet most of our spirits. When I do my initial course, when I teach people how to go on shamanic journeys, we go into the lower realm, and we open a portal which is called an axis mundi, and that is a staircase that goes into the lower realms, and we go on journeys there. And the thing about the lower realm is it's safe. I often say it's a bit like a cartoon world. So if you fall off a 100-foot cliff and hit the ground, you might think, oh, it hurts, but a bit like in a cartoon, you stand up and you're fine. You can go on journeys in that world where you can fly, you can walk on water. Maybe your Pegasus or your dragon comes in, you can go on journeys, and it's out of time. So if you're on a journey and you're in this physical world, laying down, and the drum's beating away and you've gone on your journey, you might only go for 10 minutes in our time. But in the lower realms and also all the worlds, it could feel like hours. I've been on some journeys where I've done so much and come back and I'm like, oh, that was only 10 minutes. it felt like it was like 6 or 7 hours. So time is completely different, and you can do things that all the superpowers can do. You take all the super people, you can fly, you can run on water, you can breathe underwater, you can do all these amazing things. It's very powerful. The middle world is really an overlay of our physical world, and this is an area that is less friendly because spirits that don't pass over are often stuck in this overlaid middle world. And you probably wouldn't go in the middle world until you had all of your shamanic temple in place, so you were protected and you were safe. So if you did go on a journey, you would take your lion and your dragons with you, because if you did meet something that wasn't quite so friendly, they'd keep you safe. And then you've got the upper worlds, which are more like what you'd think of as heaven, but they're also you might go and meet an alien race. So you might go and meet the Acturians or many others, and it's more where sort of like the goddesses live, and the nice and white and fluffy type of things. But you can go up there and meet your teachers. Often the lower realm is where the power animals are, and more your goddess type people are in the upper world. And when you go on journeys, you decide whether you're going up or in the middle or down. And sometimes what will happen is you'll go low and then you'll realize you've come back into the upper world, and you can actually connect between them. And like all things, there's not really a hard and fast rule. You're when you first do shamanism, you'll connect to your power animals, your body protectors, and your main guide. And your main guide will know just about everything there is to know. So you'll normally go to your main guide and say, I've got this issue, I'd love some healing, where's the best place to go? And they go, oh, come down to the lower realms and I'll introduce you to this healer. And then you'll go on a journey, and they're like your guide and the protector and everything. Is very beautiful. And then Celtics call it the other worlds, the Australians call it the Dreamtime worlds, and everyone's got a different name for it, but invariably there's always the 3 levels. Cool. Right, the contentious part. Can a shaman heal? No, we can't. Any shaman that comes to you and says, I can heal you, and is doing it from ego. See you, Stephen. That's their ego. A shaman does not heal. So there's healing energy around us, and basically what happens is the shaman is the connection. So it's a bit like saying, does a doctor heal? No, the doctor doesn't do that. The doctor gives you the drug, and the drug does something for you. In the same way, the shaman connects you to the healing energy. And shamans, some shamans are very flamboyant, and they'll have all the costumes and all the rest of it. I've just got the beard, and but and other people will just be normal Joes, but they can be very powerful shamans in the fact that they hold space strongly, and they have a team that they can connect to, which is very strong. So you can get shamans that are very powerful, but it's not them that does the healing. They're just very powerful at connecting to the spirit world and holding that space for you. So if you ever go for a healing, it's not the shaman that's doing the healing. The shaman is connecting you to the healing goddesses, the gods, the deities. I mean, the sun can heal you. There's energy from that, but the shaman will connect you to the particular energy that's healing, and they act like a hollow bone or a hollow reed. I think that's very powerful. Lots of people say, I've heard people saying, "Oh, I want to become a healer. I want to be powerful." So it's like, if truly you're a proper shaman and you're into shamanism, your ego is out of the way. It's not about you. It's about you just connecting to the energy, and the energy that connects to the person that needs the energy, the healing energy. It has an intelligence. So someone might come to me and say, I've got a really bad back. I'm not thinking, right, we must fix their back. I connect to the energies. I connect to their higher self. I connect then to the healing temples. I connect to the energy, and often something will come in. So the other day I was doing something, and a wolf came in, and I was like, okay. And sometimes a bear comes in, and they have particular energies, and all I do is share that energy to the person that needs it. And then your physicality, your soul, your body, your auras are intelligent enough to know how to use that energy. So if you've got a bad back, yeah, it might fix your bad back, but maybe that's not the root cause of it. Often what's physical is actually in your auras, and you've got 7 auras, or it might be in something that happened to you when you were 5. And what you can do is you can go on a journey and find that point, and that mental thing could be causing a physical issue. So it's very interesting when you start doing the healing. You start to realize that it's not just physical, and that's where modern medicine, it fails us in many ways. I think modern medicine's amazing. It does some great stuff, but it's very hard for that to move into the spiritual world. And there are issues that you can get that show physically, which actually are spiritual. And that's often why people don't come to see the shamans until they've gone through all of the chemo or whatever it is. But it's changing. I mean, I'm doing a diploma at the moment. It's only been available for the last 2 years, and it's been authorized and signed off by the government. And they've actually said, we agree that shamanic healing does actually heal people, which is quite powerful, really. So that's great. So can a shaman heal? No, but the energy they channel does the healing, and the person receiving it in many ways heals themselves. Even most people wouldn't believe that. Cool. Gifts. Okay, what gifts do shamans receive? Many of us are born with lots of gifts, and you may remember as a child that you saw things, or you heard things, or you felt things, or you tasted things that maybe weren't there. I certainly, as a kid, I used to see lions running around the house. I'd see dragons. I saw horses. My dad's shoes used to walk around the house with, like, on their own, and I was told, like, shh, going a bit nutty. So I shut it all off until 5 decades later, it came and sort of like slapped me around the face and said, you need to wake up. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm talking the way I talk. So often you're born with the gifts and you suppress them. I think that's true for many of us. And what you do, your spirit and your soul and your higher self will start doing things to wake you up. And the gifts you can get are insights. They're very powerful, the insights. Whether you're using cards or whether you're going on journeys, you can pick up knowledge that there's no way you knew it. You just go on a journey and you get this almost download, almost like a whisper, and you're like, okay. Then you say it to someone and they go, oh, yeah, that's perfect, that's it. And if you don't get in the way, things come through, and it's very, very powerful. The other gifts are the journeying, the fact that you can journey between the spiritual realms, and they're fun. I mean, I'm running a course at the moment where people have never done any journeys before, and my sister's actually joined it, which is beautiful. And she's been riding around on this huge big elephant, and a gorilla's been coming and talking to her. It's quite powerful, and she's had quite a lot of healing. She's got fibromyalgia, and it's been helping her big time. Just going on the journeys and getting that relaxation, and yeah, which is beautiful. Tapping into the healing energies, that's the big one. I mean, that's what's called me. Definitely healing's called me, but some people are more about insights. Some people about helping people with physical issues and mental issues. My one's really about the whole healing of the whole soul, really. I sort of imagine that I'm healing at the soul level. And you can do it remotely. So I've got clients all over America, Australia, Hawaii, Europe, throughout the UK. I think I've had one person come and physically be here on my healing table. The rest of it is all remote, all over Zoom, which is very powerful. Some people are able to go on journeys into the past, and I've never met anyone yet where they're able to journey into the future. I've definitely been on journeys where I've opened the Akashic records and I've journeyed into the past and I've seen past lives, but I've never actually gone into the future. What else we got? We got so the other gifts we receive is a team of guides and power animals. Some people say that as a shaman you can affect the weather. I've got a friend that lives in Cornwall and she practices shamanics, and she says whenever she goes for a walk and it's peeing with rain, she tells her guides to clear the clouds, and she says it works every single time. So try it out. I've not tried it myself yet. And then the other one is it can awaken your clairs, so your clairaudience. So you can, there's seeing, there's hearing, there's taste, there's scent, there's touch, there's feeling, there's emotions, there's knowing. And the more you go on the shamanic journeys and the more you connect to your spirit teams, the more powerful the clairs open up. And that is quite amazing. I've been on a few journeys where you can actually smell what you're almost dreaming, which is quite powerful. Okie dokie. And then stages of shamanism. Okay, I've put it into 4. I imagine it's the initiate, which is where you basically learn how to do journeying, how to go to other worlds, and you set up your power team and power guides. And it's very sort of simple one, and I've got a course at the moment. We've just been doing that. It takes about 12 weeks. Novice level is where you start to learn about healing, and you tap into the healing, and there's quite I think there must be, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 different sort of rituals and ceremonies that you can go through that help with healing. And then the next level is that I see as the healer level, where you go into more advanced areas of healing. And there's some of the powerful ones are soul retrieval. It's not, your whole soul hardly ever leaves until you die, but there's things that can happen in your life where like a chip of your soul can leave. So if you have, I don't know, a car crash, or you're abused, or you go through divorce, a part of your soul can actually leave. It can hide in a world where it feels safe. And as a shaman, you can pull in those pieces, you get them to come back. And I had a healing last year while I was on the training course, and my 5-year-old part of me came back. So when I was 5, I went to school. I was a left-hander, so they forced me to be a right-hander, and a few other different things. And I was a bit of a mummy's boy, and I didn't like the fact that I didn't see my mum for 5-6 hours, and mum says I had a bit of a sort of a depression, a low period at 5, and yeah, I went on a shamanic journey with a healer, and my 5-year-old piece of soul came back, which was quite amazing. I had all these memories of being 5, which is beautiful. And there's things, very powerful things, like a dismemberment healing. So if you're at that point in your life where you really are low, you can go on a dismemberment, and it literally is that. You go to the spirit world and they completely destroy you, and then they build you up cell by cell by cell, and you're so clean, and you may even come back just as a bright light, and then you come back into yourself. It's very strong. I've done it once, and I've held it once for one person. It was very powerful. And that's the higher level type stuff. And then there's mastery. Anything to do with mastery, they say, takes 10,000 hours. So you need to sort of practice 10,000 hours of shamanism, healing, and that's the path I'm on. Every day practicing my shamanic skills and honing them, and often going on different courses and meeting lots of different shamans. I'm off to Peru this year in April for my second trip. Going to spend some time with the shamans there, who really are, you just sit there and look at their watery old eyes, and you can just feel the power from them, and just being with them feels healing. That's gorgeous. Yeah, I'll get there one day when I'm 99 or something. Cool. So that's the stages of shamanism. And if you were interested in learning shamanism, how do you do it? Well, there's the method where you say, I've had enough, I'm giving it all up, I'm selling all my possessions or whatever, and you go and live with a shaman, and you become their apprentice, and you can do that. It's normally at least 3 years living in the jungle, maybe Peru or Colombia or something, and just being there the whole time. And it's a bit like the wax on, wax off. You do whatever they tell you to do. And I've met quite a few people that have done that, and you being in their essence is so strong. They're just truly centered and very connected to the earth, which is gorgeous. Or you can do the one where you find a local shamanic school, which is what I did, and you go to sort of 2 or 3 day courses 3 or 4 times a year over 2 or 3 year period, and you learn shamanism that way, and then you get to practice sort of in between times. And then the next bit is me selling my course. I've got 2 courses at the moment: a self-study, which is like basically just teaches you the initiate level, and I recommend that people take 3 months to run through it. Then my new course that starts in February takes you through 11 months, and we meet every week. We meet on Zoom with the option, if people are anywhere near England, we go on to Dartmoor. And Dartmoor is powerful. It's got some stone circles there that are 4,000 or 5,000 years old. It's where I birthed my drum. It's where one of my Axis Mundis is. It's very strong and powerful, and everyone that goes and sits in ceremony there feels it. So that course is the one I'm running, and I'm also going to start running other different levels. So if you're interested in those, then let me know. That's how you can learn about my course. There's me looking amazing with my drum. I think that was a photo shoot I did, and I'll share all these links with people. And I'll share these links with you as well. But basically, for listening to me go on, there's a gift of 3 free healings for you. So what I did, I've encoded 3 of them for you, and you can play them at your own speed. The chakra one is very beautiful. and it realigns all your chakras and cleans you, and it's where I connect you to the earth, and you imagine you're breathing in and breathing out and really cleansing your energy. And if you can guess where that is, I'm sure you can. That's Peru, when I was there last time, just after the lockdown had finished. It was beautiful. I'm looking forward to doing that again. And we did the Inca Trail. We cheated. We didn't do the 3-day one. So Machu Picchu. Yeah. If you ever get a chance to go, definitely do it. It's amazing. It is beautiful. And we did the 1-day trail. There is a 3-day trail. We did the 1-day trail. It takes 6 or 7 hours, and it's hard graft. But when you get there, the feeling of oh, I did it, and the fact that you've walked in the footsteps of the ancients is gorgeous. And it's not too crowded. I found it very nice, as you can see there. Cool.